We're diving into why this penny is so valuable, what to look for, and how it could turn your spare change into life-changing cash. And stick around because I'll share a funny story about the time I almost threw away a coin that turned out to be worth way more than I expected. Spoiler alert, my dog ended up saving the day. First off, let's talk about why this penny is a big deal. The no-mint mark means it was minted in Philadelphia, which wasn't unusual for pennies at the time. What makes this coin special is its rarity. Only a handful of these pennies have been found in pristine condition, what collectors call mint state. The combination of its age, condition, and historical significance has driven its value through the roof. And when I say through the roof, I mean $9 million. That's enough to buy a mansion, a fleet of Teslas, or, if you're feeling wild, 9 million McChickens. But here's the kicker. Not every 1949 penny is worth that much. Condition is everything. If it's scratched up, bent, or looks like it survived a war, it's probably not the jackpot you're hoping for. However, if it's shiny, smooth, and free from any major blemishes, you might just have a winner on your hands. Look at the space under the date. If there's no letter like D or S, that's a good start. Use a magnifying glass. If it looks like it's fresh out of the mint, you're in business. Some 1949 pennies have a slight doubling in the lettering. That tiny mistake could mean big bucks. If you're unsure, don't just toss it back into the jar. Take it to a professional coin grader or a reputable dealer. They'll give you a better idea of its value. Now, let me tell you about the time I almost lost a coin worth over $100. It wasn't a 1949 penny, but it was a rare one. I was cleaning out my junk drawer. You know, the one where you keep random batteries, old receipts, and keys you no longer remember the purpose of, and I found this old, crusty coin. It looked pretty basic, so I tossed it on the counter, thinking it was just pocket change. Fast forward a few hours, and my dog, Max, decided he wanted a snack. He knocked it off the counter and started playing with it like it was a chew toy. That's when I noticed some unusual details on the coin. I grabbed it, did a quick Google search, and realized it was worth over $100. Lesson learned: never underestimate a coin, and always trust your dog's judgment. Alright, folks, here's the bottom line. That humble 1949 no-mint mark penny could be worth millions. So, take a few minutes to dig through your coin jars, piggy banks, or even that junk drawer you've been avoiding. You never know what hidden treasures might be waiting for you. And hey, if you found this video helpful or just enjoyed hanging out with me, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons more tips, stories, and strategies to help you uncover coins worth serious money. Plus, who knows? The next coin we talk about might just be the one that changes your life. We're talking about a penny that could literally change your life. Yes, you heard me right. A 1964 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny that's worth a jaw-dropping $4 million. That's enough to buy a mansion, a yacht, or, if you're like me, an endless supply of tacos for the rest of your life. So grab your coffee, your coin jar, and maybe a magnifying glass because you'll want to check every single penny in your house by the time we're done. Let's dive in. First, let's get one thing straight. Not every 1964 D penny is worth millions. If that were the case, we'd all be retired by now. The key here is rarity and condition. Most of these pennies were made with regular copper and went straight into circulation. But a small number of them, oh, those magical few, were minted with rare errors. Think of it like a factory blooper that ended up being pure gold. These errors could include doubling on the text, an unusual minting flaw, or even a different composition of metal. And when coin collectors hear about these rare beauties, they're willing to shell out big bucks to get their hands on them. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was helping my grandma clean out her attic. She had jars full of coins. Seriously, jars. We were laughing about how she was saving for her rainy day. And I thought, what if one of these coins is actually worth something? Fast forward a couple of hours, and I'm squinting at every penny like a total coin nerd. Spoiler alert, I didn't find a 1964 D penny worth $4 million. But I did find a 1943 steel penny that turned out to be worth about 50 bucks. Not bad for an afternoon of dusty attic diving. Moral of the story? Don't underestimate those old coins. You never know what treasure you might find. Alright, so you're probably itching to check your coin stash right now. But before you do, Let me break down what you should be looking for. Look for a tiny D on the front of the coin, right below the date. This means it was minted in Denver. If your 1964 penny doesn't have a mint mark, it was made in Philadelphia and, unfortunately, it's not part of the $4 million club. Coins in mint state condition, meaning they look practically brand new, are worth the most. If your penny looks like it's been through a war, it's probably not the big-ticket one-dot check for doubling on the lettering, weird bumps, or any strange textures. These could be the rare minting errors that collectors go nuts for. If you've got a good scale, weigh the penny. Some rare versions of this coin were made with a different metal composition, making them slightly heavier or lighter than normal. Now, I know what you're thinking. How do I know if my penny is the jackpot? Well, once you've done your initial inspection, you might want to get it authenticated by a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. These folks are the real deal and can confirm if your penny is worth a fortune or just, well, a penny. But here's the thing. Even if you don't find the $4 million 1964 D penny, searching through coins is like a little treasure hunt. And who doesn't love a good treasure hunt? Before we wrap up, let me ask you this. How many times have you looked at a penny and thought it was worthless? Now you know better. That little copper coin in your pocket might just be your golden ticket. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on coins worth money, hit that subscribe button and join our growing community of treasure hunters. And hey, don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends. You never know, one of them might have the $1 million penny sitting in their couch cushions. We're diving into why this humble little coin is worth a small fortune, how you can spot one, and a hilarious story about the time I almost missed out on a rare find myself. So, what makes this penny so special? Let's break it down. In 1973, the Denver Mint cranked out a bunch of these Lincoln pennies. Most were your run-of-the-mill copper coins, great for buying gum but not much else. But there's a twist. Some coins had tiny imperfections like double die errors or misstrikes, and collectors are willing to shell out crazy amounts of cash for them. Fast forward to today, and one particular 1973 D penny sold for a jaw-dropping $3 million. Why? It was a pristine example of a rare variety with microscopic details that only the sharpest eyes or a really good magnifying glass can catch. And no, it's not just about luck. It's about knowing what to look for. First up, the D mint mark. It's located just below the year. Make sure it's clear and not smudged. Next, hunt for doubling. Use a magnifying glass to inspect the lettering and numbers. If they look like they're shadowed or doubled, you might have struck gold finally. Check the condition. Coins in mint state, meaning they look brand spanking new, fetch the highest prices. If your penny has more scratches than a cat's favorite couch, it's probably not worth much. Speaking of scratches, let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my grandma's attic. You know, the kind of place where you find everything from dusty photo albums to that one lonely sock you thought you'd lost forever. Anyway, I stumbled upon a jar of pennies and thought, why not? I started sorting through them, and guess what? I found a coin that looked just a little off. Turns out, it was an old wheat penny worth $150. Not a millionaire-making find, but hey, it paid for dinner that night. Moral of the story? Always check your change. You never know what treasure is hiding in plain sight. So, could you have a $3 million penny sitting in your couch cushions right now? Maybe. The only way to know is to start digging. And trust me, it's worth the effort. Who knew the answer to your financial dreams could be jingling around in your car's cup holder? Before you run off to raid your piggy bank, let me leave you with this. If you want more tips, tricks, and stories about coins that could change your life, or at least fund a really nice vacation, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got a ton of videos lined up to help you spot coins worth money, and I don't want you to miss out. Alright, that's it for today, my fellow treasure hunters. Good luck, happy hunting, and may your pockets be full of pennies worth more than gold. We're talking about a rare gem that could be chilling in your coin collection, right under your nose, worth a small fortune. Yes, you heard it right, a 1977 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. But here's the twist. It could be worth a whopping $7 million. Yep, you heard me. $7 million. So sit tight, because I'm about to drop some serious knowledge on you. Now, before you start scouring your entire coin jar, let's break it down. You might be wondering, What makes the 1977 no mint mark penny so special? Well, let me tell you, it's all about that mint mark, or more specifically, the fact that it's missing. Normally, coins are stamped with a mint mark to show where they were made: Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco, you get the picture. But the 1977 penny, in some rare cases, was produced without one. So why does that matter? Well, this missing mint mark is what makes the coin incredibly rare and highly sought after by collectors. Now, let's talk about how you might have one of these little guys. The story goes that in 1977, there was some kind of weird production error, and a few pennies came out of the Philadelphia Mint with no mint mark. These babies weren't supposed to be that way. So, if you've got a 1977 penny and it doesn't have a mint mark, you could be holding on to a gold mine. Now, I know what you're thinking, okay, cool, but how do I know if it's actually worth $7 million? Great question, my friend. The first thing you want to do is check for authenticity. We're talking rare, but not all 1977 pennies are created equal. Some might be just worn out, while others are still in mint condition. Literally. A mint condition 1977 no mint mark penny could fetch millions, but one that's a little beat up? Not so much. I'm sure some of you are already digging through your drawers right now. Right? Insert me laughing in the background, let me tell you. Finding one of these isn't easy. I remember when I first heard about this, I thought, sure, I'll just check my spare change. Fast forward to me going through a jar of coins that probably hadn't been touched since the 90s. Cue the facepalm moment. Turns out I wasn't a lucky winner. But hey, maybe one of you will be. But here's the kicker: just because it's rare doesn't mean you can just pluck it out of a pile of pennies and expect to get millions for it. If it's really worn down or heavily circulated, you're not going to see anything close to that 7 million figure. But if it's in pretty solid shape, you're looking at a valuable coin for sure. Also, some of these pennies are so rare that they can end up at auctions, being sold to the highest bidder, sometimes going for thousands, even millions. That's right, a coin you might have found in your back pocket could land you some serious cash if it's in the right condition. So what's the takeaway here? If you've got a 1977 penny without a mint mark, don't just toss it in your change jar. It might be more than just pocket change. It could be a valuable collector's item that's worth a small fortune. Take a good look at your pennies, folks. And hey, even if your 1977 penny isn't worth millions, at least you'll have learned a little something new today. Before you go diving into your coin stash, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more tips on rare coins, their values, and how to find those hidden treasures in your collection. I promise you won't want to miss what's coming next. I've got tons of valuable coin info on the way. And as always, keep those coins safe and keep hunting. You never know when you'll stumble across your next big find. We're talking about a coin so rare that it could be worth $1 million. Yes, you heard that right. I'm talking about the 1981 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, I know what you're thinking. A penny? Worth $1 million? Is this some kind of joke? Well, sit tight, because we're about to dive into a story that's not only interesting but could totally change how you look at pennies forever. So, let's start with the basics. If you're a fan of the Lincoln penny, you're probably familiar with the fact that pennies have been minted in different years and with various mint marks. Typically, you'll see a letter that tells you where the coin was made, like a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But the 1981 no mint mark penny is a whole different ball game. It was struck without any mint mark at all. That's the kicker. All regular pennies from 1981 were supposed to have a mint mark indicating where they were made, but some mysterious batch got out without one. And because this happened, it makes them exceptionally rare, and therefore incredibly valuable. I know, right? At first glance, the 1981 no mint mark penny might look like any other coin in your pocket. It's got Lincoln's face on the front and the familiar memorial design on the back. But this little guy packs a punch. It's not just a penny. It's the golden ticket for collectors who are looking for that one rare find. Now, you might be wondering how to spot one of these bad boys. Honestly, it's pretty simple. Flip your 1981 pennies over and check for that mint mark. If it's missing, you've got yourself a potential treasure. But remember, not all 1981 pennies are going to be worth $1 million. You'll need one in excellent condition to fetch top dollar. We're talking about pristine, like it just came out of the mint condition. Okay, let me be real with you for a second. I know how it feels to get excited about a coin you find, only to realize it's not worth what you thought. I had my moment of, wow, This is it. When I found a 1964 dime in a roll of quarters at the gas station. I spent like 20 minutes thinking I had a rare gem on my hands. But nope, it was worth about 10 cents. The disappointment was real. But hey, at least I can laugh about it now. So, trust me when I say if you do find one of these 1981 no-mint mark pennies, don't freak out, you'll know. And here's the crazy thing, these pennies have been selling at auction for anywhere between $500,000 to $1 million. Yup, that little copper coin could be your ticket to an early retirement if you're lucky enough to have one in your collection. Just imagine telling your friends, yeah, I just sold a penny for $1 million. Mic drop. But, of course, finding a coin like that isn't exactly easy. The rarity of the 1981 no-mint mark penny makes it a hot commodity for collectors, and they're out there scouring rolls of pennies, visiting estate sales, and checking coin shops in the hopes of finding one. If you're looking for one of these coins, here's a little tip. Keep checking your change. Who knows, next time you grab a coffee or buy a snack, you could be handed a penny that's worth way more than your morning caffeine fix. And if you ever come across one, get it appraised, because that tiny piece of metal might just be a life-changer. So, whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone trying to make a few extra bucks, the 1981 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is definitely worth paying attention to. Keep your eyes peeled, because in the world of coins, anything is possible. And hey, if you enjoyed learning about this rare find, make sure to subscribe to my channel for more tips on valuable coins, insider strategies on how to spot rare treasures, and maybe even a few funny stories about my own coin hunting fails. Trust me, there's a lot of them, so hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. You never know what might pop up in your pocket next. We're diving into the mind-blowing world of the 1984 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. You'll want to stay with me for this one, because the value of this coin might just make your jaw drop. And spoiler alert, it's worth a whopping $4 million. Yep, you heard that right, so grab your magnifying glasses, and let's find out why this penny could be the treasure you've been overlooking all along. Who knows, you might have one in your piggy bank right now. Alright, let's break this down. The 1984 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is one of those coins that flew under the radar for a long time. You've probably seen it before. It's a classic penny with Honest Abe's face. But here's the thing. It doesn't have the little mint mark where you'd expect to see it. Usually, you'll see a D for Denver or a S for San Francisco, but not on this penny. It was minted in Philadelphia and, get this, there was a tiny but significant error in the mint mark was completely left off. Now, you're probably wondering, how does something like that make a penny worth millions? It's all about rarity. You see, when this penny was first released, nobody really paid much attention to it. People just went about their business, using these pennies for pocket change. But over time, collectors realized there was something special about the absence of the mint mark. It's a mistake that just doesn't happen every day. And as time passed, the number of these rare coins started to shrink, making it even more valuable. Here's where it gets crazy. The 1984 no-mint mark penny in perfect condition has sold for $4 million at auction. Yes, $4 million. Now, before you start running around checking your loose change, let's talk about what makes this coin so valuable. First, it's all about condition. If you happen to find one of these in a random box of pennies that's been sitting in your attic for decades, the odds are it's not going to be worth $1 million unless it's in pristine, uncirculated condition. A few scratches, a little dirt? Sorry, but you're not going to make it onto the $4 million club. But even if it's not perfect, it's still a pretty great find. In fact, collectors are always on the hunt for these coins because of their historical value and rarity. And here's a fun little story from my personal experience. I once found an old jar of pennies from my grandpa's collection. I thought, hey, maybe there's something valuable here. I spent hours going through each penny with a magnifying glass, convinced that I was going to find a rare coin worth hundreds or thousands of dollars. In the end, I didn't find anything worth more than face value, but it was still an awesome experience. I felt like a treasure hunter, and while I didn't get $4 million, it's that thrill of the hunt that keeps me going. So what do you think? Could you be sitting on a gold mine, or should I say a penny mine? If you've got a 1984 penny without a mint mark, check it out closely. But even if you don't have one of these rare finds, don't worry. There are plenty of other coins out there that could be worth some serious cash, and I'm here to help you find them. If you enjoyed this video, Be sure to hit that subscribe button for more tips and strategies on finding coins worth money. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on the next big discovery, because who knows? The next $1,000,000 penny could be hiding right under your nose. We're diving into something that might just blow your mind. Have you ever wondered if a single penny could be worth millions? No, I'm not talking about those fancy ones you find in a parking lot after someone loses a fight with their change purse. I'm talking about the legendary 1987 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. You heard that right, folks. This little copper coin has an astounding market value of $7 million. That's not a typo. Now, before you start checking your piggy bank, let's dive into why this coin is so valuable and how you can spot it. So, what makes this penny worth more than a mansion in some places? Well, this isn't just your average penny. This specific 1987 D penny, minted at the Denver Mint, has a rare flaw that makes it stand out from the crowd. There's a very small number of these coins in existence, and they've got a mysterious characteristic that makes them a collector's dream. Essentially, it's an error coin. You're at the bank, picking up some rolls of pennies, and bam, you find a 1987 D penny. You think, cool, a penny. Not worth much. But hey, it's got Abraham Lincoln on it. But wait, this penny might just have an error that could make it a serious jackpot. It could have something like a double die, a misaligned strike, or even something as small as a tiny mark that makes the whole thing wildly unique. Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds like a lot of work to check a penny for some microscopic detail. And you're not wrong. Finding these rare pennies takes a bit of effort. But when you do, it's like finding a gold mine buried under a pile of spare change. Let me tell you a quick story. A couple of years ago, I was digging through some old change I had thrown into a jar. You know, the one where you toss all your loose pennies, dimes, and those weird Canadian coins that somehow end up in your pocket. I'm going through the jar when, boom, I find an old penny. My first thought was, another one to add to the collection. But I took a closer look. This thing had an odd marking on it, something I hadn't seen before. After doing a little research, I found out it was a mint error penny. It wasn't a 1987 D, but it was still worth a nice little chunk of change. Moral of the story: always check your change, folks. You never know what treasure you might be holding. It's all about rarity. Only a few of these mint error coins made it out into circulation, and because they're so scarce, collectors go crazy for them. Think about it. A coin that's almost 40 years old, with a mistake that makes it extremely rare. No wonder it's fetching a price that would make anyone's eyes water. People love having a piece of history, and when it comes to coins, the rarer, the better. The current market value of these 1987 D pennies can soar to as much as $7 million. That's a serious amount of dough for a coin that's smaller than a fingernail. And if you've got one of these beauties in your collection, you're sitting on a potential gold mine. Alright, so now that you're aware of the value behind these elusive little pennies, what's the next step? How do you find one of these treasure troves hiding in your pocket change? Well, folks, that's where the fun part begins. You've got to dig, hunt, and be on the lookout. Scour those rolls of pennies, hit up flea markets, and check your change after every transaction. The next $1,000,000 coin could be just a flip of a penny away. But wait, before you run off to raid your coin jar, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'm constantly sharing tips and tricks about rare coins, the ones you might have missed, and the hidden treasures you can turn into some serious cash. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on that. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and remember, in the world of coins, anything is possible. That shiny penny you toss in the jar today might just be worth a fortune tomorrow. We're diving into why this penny could be worth a mind-blowing $8 million. Yeah, you heard that right, $8 million. That's more than some homes. So, how does a penny end up worth that much? Stick with me because by the end of this video, you'll know everything there is to know about this rare gem and how to spot one. Alright, let's rewind a little. Back in 1988, the US Mint was busy making millions of pennies. Most of them had a mint mark to show where they were made, like the famous D or S marks. But here's where things get interesting. A few pennies slipped through the cracks with no mint mark. These are the real treasure hunters' targets because they're super rare. The US Mint didn't officially release any pennies in 1988 without a mint mark, so finding one is like discovering a unicorn in your backyard. Now, you might be thinking, okay, it's just a penny. How much could it really be worth? Well, here's where it gets wild. If you've got one of these rare 1988 no-mint mark pennies, it's a collector's dream. I'm talking $8 million in today's market. That's right, this tiny coin has the potential to make you richer than your last few lottery tickets combined. You're sitting there with your morning coffee, scrolling through your old change, and boom, there it is, penny that could change your life. But here's the catch. Not every 1988 penny is worth millions. To hit that jackpot, your coin needs to be in mint condition. No pun intended. See this one? Yeah, it's been through a few too many washes and maybe even a trip to the bottom of the lake. Not gonna be fetching you millions, folks. But if yours is shiny, crisp, and practically new, then you've got yourself a real winner. People are paying top dollar for rare finds like this, and if you've got one in mint condition, you might just be holding on to an $8 million gem. I remember the first time I found something I thought was valuable. It was a 75 quarter. I was convinced it was worth a fortune, spent hours researching, and then, nope, just a regular run-of-the-mill coin. But hey, lesson learned. And now, I can appreciate the excitement when you do find something special. So, how do you spot a 1988 no-mint mark penny? First off, check the date. Obvious, I know, but make sure it's from 1988. Then, flip it over and take a good look at the reverse side. If there's no mint mark, and it's in good shape, congratulations. You might have a rare one on your hands. Here's the thing. Finding a rare coin isn't easy, but it is possible. And when you're dealing with coins like the 1988 no mint mark penny, the payoff could be life-changing. So, if you've got a jar of pennies lying around, it might just be worth your while to give them a second look. If you found this video helpful and you want more tips on coins that could be worth money, hit that subscribe button right now. Who knows? Maybe your next penny is just waiting to make you a fortune. And hey, if you find a rare one, don't forget to send me a picture. I'd love to see what you've got. We're diving into a coin that could have you feeling like the king of your neighborhood, or at least the king of your collection. We're talking about the 2013 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yes, you heard me right. A penny. Not a quarter, not a dime, but a humble little penny worth, wait for it, up to $3 million. Sounds like something straight out of a treasure hunting movie, right? But it's real and it's hiding in your change jar. Stick around, and by the end, you might just find yourself digging through your pocket lint, hoping you've got one of these bad boys waiting for you. So grab your magnifying glass and let's get into it. Now, I know what you're thinking. A penny worth $3 million? Are you pulling my leg? Well, not exactly. Here's the scoop. In 2013, a small batch of pennies was accidentally struck with no mint mark, meaning they were produced without the usual D for Denver or P for Philadelphia stamped on the coin. And let me tell you, this tiny error is what makes these pennies such a hot commodity in the coin world. It's basically the coin equivalent of finding an autograph from a famous celebrity in your high school yearbook. Rare, exciting, and highly valuable. So, how does a penny go from being pocket change to worth a small fortune? It all comes down to rarity. You see, mint marks are usually a part of the coin-making process, and the fact that these pennies were made without them is a huge red flag for collectors. There were only a handful of them made, and as with anything rare, scarcity equals value. As of today, a 2013 no-mint mark Lincoln penny can go for around $3 million if it's in mint condition, pun intended. And no, I'm not talking about mint like the flavor of gum. I mean mint like pristine, flawless condition. Now, you might be thinking, I don't even know what my pennies look like. They're probably covered in dirt, and some of them probably look like they've been run over by a lawnmower. But don't worry, it's not all about pristine condition. Even if your penny isn't in perfect shape, it can still fetch a pretty penny. Ha! See what I did there? If it's one of these rare no-mint mark ones. So, check your change, folks. You might just find that penny in your pocket that turns you into a millionaire. You grab a jar of coins, sift through it, and find the usual suspects. Dirty pennies, old nickels, and that one quarter from 1989 that's stuck in your collection for some reason. But one day, while you're casually flipping through, You stumble upon something that catches your eye. A penny. But not just any penny. It's shiny, it feels different, and there's no mint mark. I know this sounds like the kind of thing that only happens in movies, but trust me, I've had my own aha moment at a while back. I was doing the usual coin hunting thing, sorting through my spare change to see if I could add any cool finds to my collection when I spotted a penny that seemed a little off. It didn't have the mint mark like all the others. I almost tossed it into my meh pile, but then I remembered some stories I'd heard about rare pennies. I Googled it, and lo and behold, it was one of those 2013 no mint mark pennies. It wasn't worth $3 million, but it was definitely worth more than the 5 cents I'd been assuming it was. Moral of the story: sometimes that little thing could turn out to be way more valuable than you think. So there you have it. The 2013 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny might not be the most glamorous coin in your pocket, but it could just be the key to unlocking a small fortune. Remember, folks, it's all about rarity and condition. If you find one of these coins in your pocket, be sure to do a little more than just toss it into your piggy bank. Get it checked out by a professional, and who knows, maybe you'll be the next coin millionaire. And hey, before you head off to start your treasure hunt, don't forget to subscribe for more tips and tricks on coins worth money, coin collecting strategies, and all the wild stuff you never knew about. Who knows, the next video might just feature your coin. We're diving into the mystery of the 2016 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that's not only rare but potentially richer than your wildest dreams. Stick around for the full scoop, because this little penny could just turn your piggy bank into a treasure chest. So, you're probably wondering, how in the world is a 2016 penny, a coin that's still circulating, worth $6 million? Well, it all boils down to one tiny little detail: the lack of a mint mark. You see, in 2016, most pennies were stamped with a mint mark, the tiny letter that tells you where the coin was made, whether it's from Philly, Denver, or San Francisco. But a small batch of 2016 pennies slipped through the cracks and got produced without any mint mark at all. Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds like an easy mistake, right? Why is it worth so much? Well, here's the thing. There were only a few of these mintless pennies made, and because of that, they're incredibly rare, like finding a unicorn in your backyard rare. Okay, so rarity is great, but let's talk about why this coin could fetch such a massive price. First off, the 2016 no mint mark penny wasn't just found anywhere. It was discovered in a roll of normal pennies, which means it wasn't even on the radar for most collectors. So one day, a lucky person probably picked up a penny like you or me, glanced at it and thought, "This looks different." Boom. An accidental jackpot. Imagine buying a coffee with a penny, only to find out it's worth more than your entire day's worth of caffeine. Talk about irony, huh? I remember the first time I found something rare. It wasn't a penny, but a baseball card from the 90s. I thought it was just some random old card, but turns out it was worth a couple $100. I felt like a millionaire for about 5 minutes before I realized that my real wealth was probably just the knowledge of knowing where to find stuff. But I digress. This 2016 penny has actually been spotted in auctions, and some versions have been sold for up to $6 million. Seriously, this is like the lottery, but without the stress of picking numbers. So how do you know if you have won? Great question. Because this coin is rare and people like to make sure they're not missing out, here's what you should look for. No mint mark, just like we talked about. There should be no letter on the coin. The absence of a mint mark is what sets it apart from all the other pennies. The date, you've got to make sure it's 2016. I mean, it could be 2015 or 2017, and that's a whole different ball game. Make sure the date's on the front, because that's the first step to making sure it's the right coin. Condition: the better the condition, the higher the price. A perfect penny is a little more valuable than one that's been through the washer and back. The fun part, the auction hype. So, I have a friend who's into coin collecting, lucky for me, right? And he got all excited about this penny a few years back. He ended up buying a roll of pennies on eBay, just a random lot, no big deal, and found one of these no mint mark 2016s. The moment he realized what he had, his jaw practically hit the floor. It was in pretty decent condition too, so he started eyeing up auction sites. The next auction he joined, he sold it for nearly $100,000. Now, let me just say, if he had held on to that penny for a few more years, it could have reached a lot more than that. That's the crazy part about these rare finds. They go up in value as the years go by, And you never know when someone will offer you an insane amount of cash for your little shiny friend. You could be sitting on a fortune without even realizing it. Alright, so to wrap things up, next time you see a penny on the ground, pick it up, because it might not just be a penny. It might be a $6 million ticket to the life you've always dreamed of. No mint mark, 2016, and in great condition? That's the jackpot combo. But even if your pennies aren't worth millions, don't forget, knowledge is power. Keep learning, keep hunting for those rare coins, and who knows, you could find the next big thing in your change jar. If you enjoyed this video, or if you think I might have just helped you spot your next big moneymaker, make sure to subscribe. I've got tons of tips and tricks coming your way to help you spot hidden treasures in your pocket change. And hey, next time you find a random coin, don't just toss it. Take a closer look. You never know when you're holding onto the next $6 million coin. We're talking about the 2018 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. You probably have a few of these sitting in your jar right now, but let me tell you, some of them are absolutely gold mines. Literally. Stick around to find out how a tiny, almost overlooked coin can skyrocket in value. You won't believe how it happened. Alright, let's dive in. So, what makes the 2018 D Lincoln penny worth such an insane amount of money? Normally, you'd think a penny is, well, a penny. But this one isn't your average pocket change. The 2018 D penny made news when one of these coins, in mint condition mind you, sold for a mind-blowing $8 million at auction. Yep, you heard that right, $8 million. Now, you might be asking, how is that even possible? Aren't all pennies the same? Well, in the world of rare coins, nothing is that simple. The key to this coin's enormous value lies in a very special, super rare error. This particular penny is part of a very limited production where a mistake was made during the minting process. Instead of getting a clean, crisp Lincoln image, there was a weird misalignment, a double die error that made Lincoln look, well, a little funky. This error turned what should have been a 1-cent coin into a holy grail for collectors. But don't go rummaging through your change jar just yet. The odds of you finding one of these is slim to none. You'd probably have better luck getting struck by lightning while finding a 4-leaf clover. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't look for it, right? I mean, who would have thought the most valuable coin ever was just sitting in someone's pocket until the right person noticed? Here's where it gets fun. A couple of months ago, I was casually chatting with a friend about coin collecting. Yes, I'm that nerdy. He goes, "Hey, I have a bunch of 2018 pennies I never look at. Do you think any of them are worth something?" At first, I laughed and said, "You're probably fine unless you've got a golden ticket." But then, something clicked in my brain. Maybe he had one of those ultra-rare 2018 D pennies without even knowing it. Imagine the look on his face if he'd sold it for $8 million without realizing what he had. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, how can I tell if I've got one of these bad boys? Good question. The thing to remember is, these errors are incredibly subtle, so you'll need a trained eye. But even if you don't have one of those $8 million fines, there are still other valuable pennies to be on the lookout for. Coins with errors like off-center strikes or unique colorations can be worth more than you think. So, while the odds of finding an $8 million penny are about as good as finding a unicorn, it's definitely worth looking at those pennies a little differently now, right? Remember, it's all about paying attention to those small details, because you never know when a regular penny might turn into a small fortune. Whether it's an error coin or just a rare variant, the world of coin collecting is full of surprises. Before you head off to dig through your change jar or, go grab a magnifying glass to inspect those pennies, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'm sharing tips, strategies, and everything you need to know about coins that are worth way more than face value. Plus, if you like this story about the $8 million penny, you're gonna love what I have in store next. Trust me, you don't want to miss it.